What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Rock Brown, ODTV, talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Alright, now, simple play. What does Jason Garrett do? I'm asking. I'm really asking. Because if Scott Linehan was calling your offense, right? And Scott Linehan gets fired because he's not calling your offense right. And you bring in Kellen Moore to call your offense. And you were a quarterback who turned into an offensive coordinator, right? You don't call your own offensive plays. You're not a defensive mind, so you don't call your defensive plays. You're not a motivator. What is it that Jason Garrett does? I don't know. Because I know what Kellen Moore does. Excuse me, I'm trying not to smoke on screen. What Kellen Moore does, Kellen Moore, he freezes Ezekiel Elliott out the game. Everybody's saying, oh, you can't run when you're down 31-3. But weren't they up 7-0? Weren't they up 14-0? Weren't they up 17-0 at halftime? I thought so. So how come after 7-0, establishing the run is not on your to-do list? How come when Tyron Smith, your best tackle and arguably your best lineman, missing, you rather have your quarterback drop back, in which two guys who just got paid this offseason, pass rushers, can get a shot on him instead of using the available lineman, Frederick, Martin, Collins, when you had him, to establish the line of scrimmage, which you lost to the Saints just 1 week prior? Oh, we're gonna put it in Brett Maher hands. Okay. Brett Maher? Really? A dude with a leg and no accuracy? And we found that out painfully last year? Why was he re-signed? Tavon Austin. He fast, ain't he? But correct me if I'm wrong. Tavon Austin stays hurt, right? That's his career history. He stays hurt, right? Thought so. Devin Smith, and I want to say, I'm an Ohio State Buckeyes fan. I have been since Eddie George. And Devin Smith is from Ohio State. But Devin Smith, hold on, before I say that, because you know what I'm going to say. He stays hurt his whole career too, right? But wait, the wide receiver coach, Sanjay Lau, I believe is how you pronounce it. Sanjay Lau was the wide receiver coach on the Jets where Devin Smith continuously got hurt. And he went and re-signed Devin Smith. He signed Devin Smith to the Cowboys. So Tavon Austin gets another contract. You bring back Cam Fleming again. Did Cam Fleming play that good, people? Did Cam Fleming play that good last year to where he deserved another contract? But I'm not going to cry over that because I'm okay with it. I'm fine with that. Playing left tackle, being a backup, big game. I didn't expect anything from Cameron Fleming, honestly. But I don't think Michael Gallup was 100%. I don't think Amari Cooper is 100%. But they still did what they did. Randall Cobb was, for the most part, absent against his new team. This is the second game where I watched the Dallas Cowboys offensive line get their tails handed to them in a row. Second game in a row, I watched that. Like I said, I don't know what people know about football, but Bill Parcells, remember when he came in and he started working on the offensive line immediately? That's because offensive line is the veins of an offense. You understand what I'm saying to you? The offensive line, the whole offense, they run through everything. They are the key to it, and that's every team in the league. If your offensive line plays well, even if they're not a good unit, it should be a good day for you. if you run the ball. See, Green Bay ran the ball even if it wasn't going to be effective, which it was. And I'll talk about that when I get to the defensive side. But they controlled time of possession. When Dallas was on their win streak, they controlled time of possession, which we haven't done in the last two games, right? I think Kellen Moore, and this is my personal opinion, I believe Kellen Moore believes what he hears out about the Cowboys, about that can't be this and that can't be that, because there's no reason Ezekiel Elliott was given 12 carries against a team who can't stop the run. I'm just saying certain things are elementary. Best way I can put it. Some things are just basic A, B, C. Green Bay knew they was going to have to stop Zeke. Zeke was averaging 5 yards a carry. Over 5 yards a carry, excuse me. So, with that being said, why weren't you giving Ezekiel Elliott the ball? Were you trying to prove that Dak Prescott can throw all over the yard? But when you throw the ball, the odds aren't even in your favor because two things bad can happen, right? And like I said, Garrett don't do nothing. He don't call his offense. He's not a defensive mind. He does nothing. Dak Prescott. I hate saying this. Dak Prescott is a good guy. Dak Prescott is a great leader. Dak Prescott has heart. He's a very intelligent man. Dak Prescott has limited arm talent. If you don't know what I'm talking about the ability within his throwing arm. Not his decision making, not his reads, which his decision making is questionable because Dak holds the ball too long. He second guesses things. See, when Randall Cobb caught that ball going towards the sideline when they were in their comeback, that's how you're supposed to throw it. So all that throwing behind people and it touched their hands, yeah, they could catch it, but it's easy to miss that too. Because you're in motion going a certain way. And when you have to stop your motion or slow your motion or just try to throw your hands back behind your back shoulder, but you was running in, you were coming across, the ball should be in front of the receiver and he should be able to run into the ball and stay in stride. That's a good pass. Those are bad passes Dak Prescott threw. They were off. The timing of those plays were off. Period. Ain't no other way to do it. His timing is off. He's not good with timing. And his arm talent is limited. I feel sorry for Ezekiel Elliott because Ezekiel Elliott got frozen out the game. Simple and plain. People can say you can't run when you're down 31-3, but it didn't start like that. The Green Bay Packers didn't come out. You look at it like this. 17-17 is 34, right? If the defense gave up 17 points, Dak Prescott gave up 17 points. I'll say this again. If the defense gave up 17 on their own, had nothing to do with the offense. First three drives are interception, punt, interception. Those are your first three drives. Dak gave up points on two of those. The defense is at fault for one. When we punted the ball, they were supposed to do their job. But when Dak turned the ball over and shifted momentum and gave them good field position, all that stuff, it's not the defense's fault that a touchdown. Yes, they could stop them. That's possible. But it's not the defense's fault. And again, this is the last thing I'm going to say about the offense and Jason Garrett. It's obvious that you come in one-dimensionally. Against the Saints, it was all Kamara. You didn't respect the team. You didn't talk about the team. Because the only thing you were set up to stop was Kamara. You weren't set up to stop anything else. And it's the same thing here with last night's game against the Packers. Only thing y'all game plan for was Rodgers. You didn't game plan for anything else. And that leads me to this defense. I'll start with the line. The defensive tackles on this team as a unit are a C at best. They are a C at best. Malik Collins, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to Antoine Woods, and I'm talking to Chris Covington and Tristan Hill. You guys are the Achilles heel of this Cowboys defense. People run right by y'all and you cannot get off the block. And when it comes time for pressure, you do not pressure quarterbacks. It's never the interior line. Which leads me to the outside guys. DeMarcus Lawrence and Robert Quinn. I don't know why y'all need so many plays off. I don't know why Kerry Hyder and Dorrance Armstrong, and I like Dorrance Armstrong, but I don't know why they get so many snaps. I understand keeping guys fresh, but this PC version of a defense where we see, what's his name, Zadarius Smith go off the field and come back and go off the field and come back with injuries, and DeMarcus Lawrence, you can't run 3 downs. Robert Quinn, you can't run 3 downs. Really? Which leads me to the linebackers. Jalen Smith is not playing as well as he should be, but he's about the only one playing. Leighton Vander Esch, what are like sophomore slump. Called it in the preseason when you missed that tackle. You don't look good. Over pursuing, out of place, not getting off the block, over aggressive at the point of attack after somebody else got the guy down. Come on, man. We don't need that. We don't need that. The defense, Sean Lee in a 4-3, you're not helping against the run. You got one side to cover. Leighton Vander Esch got one side to cover. It's disgusting how people is gashing y'all in the run game. Nobody's is gashing y'all. And I understand Balaga and Bakhtiari can play. I dig that. I don't know about those interior linemen, though. I've never heard of those guys. I believe Billy Turner's an Ohio State guy. He is. But outside of him, and he's a rookie. No. Antoine Woods, I apologize. He wasn't there the last 2 games. This cannot be blamed on Antoine Woods. Malik Collins, Christian Covington, Tristan Hill. I don't know why Tyrone Crawford is ever on the outside. He should be a starting D tackle, period. He didn't play well either. In the secondary, about the only decent players other than Jalen Smith on this entire and Robert Quinn, I'll say he's been playing decent, but he's not thriving on that side, and I can't really expect him to because like left tackles can be good in this league, but the corners have probably played the best of anybody on the defense this season. Even though Cheetos had a bad game, Byron Jones has been injured, Anthony Brown has gotten beat, and he didn't play exceptionally well last year. But as a whole, the corners, I didn't say the secondary. Because Xavier Woods, since he came back, soft. That's my guy. I thought he was going to be a breakout player of the year. But since you came back, Xavier Woods, you have looked mighty, mighty small, brother. Jeff Heath, you were playing lights out against 3 bad teams. I haven't seen that same Heath in 2 weeks. Haven't seen him lay that big hit on nobody that he got one each week in the first 3 weeks. I haven't seen him lay that hit on nobody in the last 2 weeks. He got a decent one last week, but it wasn't the same as the first 3 weeks. He's missing tackles again, like last year. You can't get 100 yards worth of penalties. You can't have 3 turnovers. Freeze at the best running back in the league out the game and expect to win. You got outcoached again. Back-to-back weeks, the Dallas Cowboys have got outcoached. And Jason Garrett, having Scott Linehan call his plays, having Kellen Moore call his plays, I cannot say this enough. That is passing the buck. Jason Garrett does not want response. When Bill Parcells was the offensive coach, was the head coach, Jason Garrett called plays because Jason Garrett was the offensive coordinator. Jason Garrett, as a head coach, is so high and mighty up on his pedestal that I'm Jerry's adopted son, that nothing can go wrong, that Jerry's going to love me forever. He's so high up on that pedestal that he won't even call his own plays, even in the midst of turmoil. He won't put himself out there to make the mistake to get the criticism. Instead, he'll let Scott Linehan get fired, and he'll let Kellen Moore get fired. And Jerry Jones, you always want to run everything, but you can't separate personal from business. Because you like Jason Garrett, and your way worked in the 90s according to you, even though you had a great coach who you ultimately forced out the door, because your way is the right way. Because you're so successful in life, you know what I'm saying? When you're so successful in life, who can tell you that what you're doing is wrong? That what you think is wrong, that your way is not the right way. Nobody can. And that's the problem with Jerry Jones. Right now, and I know people saying, oh, they only lost 2 games. They lost 2 games, and it's the way they lost those games. They lost to teams that they were more talented to. The Cowboys, with Kellen Moore, have done one thing effectively. They've gotten away from the bread and butter of what our offense has been when we were winning games. That's what Kellen Moore has done. He's taken Scott Linehan's offense, flipped it upside down, changed the passing route so that they can stretch the field, and he's giving the ball more to Dak than he is Zeke. He's taken away the bread and butter of the Dallas Cowboys for his philosophy. Because it's not proven that it works with Dak. It's not proven that he's ever implemented it anywhere and had success. That has not happened in the NFL. So this is all his philosophy. He believes in his mind that if he 2.0 Scott Linehan's offense and put the ball more in Dak's hands, because that's what he's doing. He's giving the game to Dak. I used to have a statement. If Tony Romo had a running back like Zeke, where he was allowed to manage the game, Parcells would have got a ring. Absolutely. If Parcells always won time of possession, if he won games in which his running back always ran for 75 yards, then they would have won a chip like that. Because when you don't ask good quarterbacks, not great quarterbacks and not elite guys, when you ask good quarterbacks to just manage the game, it's how they win. You understand? Because the defense is focused on stopping something else. And they were focused on stopping Zeke, and they weren't doing it. But Kellen Moore panicked. He panicked. So, where I'm at with it, the Cowboys should fire Garrett today. Absolutely. They should fire. If Kellen Moore is going to call your offense, and Chris Richard and Rob Marinelli are going to run your defense, what the fuck does Jason Garrett do? We all know he's not a motivator. Will McClay is the team builder, not Jason Garrett. Will McClay picks the pieces, not Jason Garrett. So he don't pick the players. So we can't say, look at all these good players he brought to the team. He doesn't do that. That's Will McClay. He doesn't call the offensive plays. That was Scott Linehan. Now it's Kellen Moore. He has nothing to do with the defense. That's Rob Marinelli and Chris Richard. He's the one who tells the field goal kicker to go out there knowing that the guy's no good. That he can kick far and that's it. Fire Jason Garrett. Hire Chris Richard as interim head coach. Because if Chris Richard's mentality, if his philosophy, if the way he acts on the field, the way he coaches, if that can trickle down to the players, then this team could be a good team. Then this team could be a playoff team. Because like I said, they need something. They either need to be, and I understand if he can't motivate them from the defensive side as the defensive coordinator, but he don't have control of the team. Our biggest problem is our offense, no matter how you feel about our defense yesterday. Our defense has played less bad games than our offense. Those are the facts. Our offense has now played 2 terrible games. Our defense has now played 1. And they were put in bad position to give up 17 points 3 times. The 17 points came off of 3 turnovers. First 3 drives, interception. When you come back from that interception, did Kellen Moore run the ball? No, he didn't. The next one, punt. When we got the ball back and it was 14-0, did Kellen Moore run the ball? No, I even seen them put Tony Pollard in there and try to let Tony Pollard, he's listening to what the talking heads are saying. Tony Pollard didn't get a carry last week. So now Tony Pollard gets a whole drive, which stalls out. Listen, man. Dak Prescott can't be throwing the ball no 40 times. That's not how the team is built. Now you want the car to fly. You're asking too much. Go with what works, especially against a team who has proven that it works on them. Listen, man. It's rough when you know that your problems, that your issues are self-inflicted. 2 missed field goals by a guy who shouldn't be on the team. Dak Prescott throwing the ball 40 times, 3 of those being picks. Would have been 4. 1 got called back due to a penalty. Because he didn't get the pick because of the penalty. So it would have been 4 interceptions. Ezekiel Elliott, 12 carries, 60 plus yards. Amari Cooper hurt. Michael Gallup hurt. Still out there. Cam Fleming looking like just garbage. Ezekiel Elliott getting 12 carries. Defensive tackles not playing well. Defensive ends not playing all that great either. Playing better than the tackles, but not playing all that great either. The linebackers, Vander Esch over pursuing, not having outside containment, not getting off the block, missing tackles. Jeff Heath missing tackles. Anthony Brown not getting his head around. That was a good hit, Cheeto. Ezekiel Elliott getting 12 carries. Jeff Heath, not that great in coverage either. Missing tackles and winning maybe 40-50% of the time in coverage. I don't like it. I don't like it. Chris Richard defense not looking as amped up as they did last year. Being fast but being small. Looking that way on tape. We got to do better. Like I said, fire Jason Garrett. Hire Chris Richard. Hope his spirit and his tenaciousness and his attitude rubs off on the entire team. Special teams. We cause absolutely no turnovers, ever. Aaron Rodgers has all day to throw. You know his tackles are good. Great players. Why not rush it up the middle all day? Why is Jalen Smith on a defensive line? That shit barely worked last week, and it didn't really work this week. You're giving an offensive lineman an easy matchup. It's a power forward in the paint with a 2 guard. Maybe a 3 guard, okay. But that's not going to work 9 times out of 10, especially if the power forward can play. And that's what you got a lineman on a linebacker. Why are you using him to pass rush, but you traded Taco Charleston? This is just philosophy-based. We believe this will work. Not the tape says, so we should do this. Not our strength is, so we should do this. It's very frustrating when the powers that be won't make a conscious effort for the sake of the team. You want people to take less money for the sake of the team, but the powers that be don't want to make a conscious effort to break relationships and move on from bonds that are detrimental to the Dallas Cowboys winning the 6th Super Bowl. Brock Brown, the ODTV, Dallas Cowboys, we got to do better. Peace.